Welcome to the Nova Wealth Show. I am your host, Amy Novakovich.
And I'm Jim Novakovich. We're a husband and wife team and co-founders of Nova Wealth Management.
We also teach you how to build wealth, advise you how to keep it, and how not to get taken advantage of. So let's get started. Hey everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to Finance Friday. This is the show where we transform your relationship with your money by giving you the information you need to help grow and protect your wealth. I'm Amy Novakovich, Certified Financial Planner and CEO of Nova Wealth Management. Follow me on Twitter follow us on Twitter, it's not just me, but at Nova Wealth Management. Management's abbreviated. And just go to our website, novawealthmanagement.com. I will also be posting this to our podcast, The Nova Wealth Show, which will be on the Woodish Network and YouTube. So you guys can see that there, because as you guys know, I love to interview people. Oh my gosh, you got to share this out right now. Do you have your phone on you?
I do.
Yeah, we're going to share this out right now, because I always forget to say that too. I always love interviewing people, but today is a very, very special interview. I'm super excited for this because, man, does he have a story. This is going to be so inspiring. We're going to learn so much. I'm so pumped. Chris Williams, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I appreciate it. I still can't figure out how to share this. Is live now. There it is. Wow, people are already, there we go. Yeah, comment any questions you might have for Chris. But Chris, I really want to just kind of right away turn it over to you, because I want you to tell what the Balance University is, first of all, and then we'll get into, how you built it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Balance University is a 10-week balance course, basically, is what it is. And so
for who?
It's for anyone that has balance issues.
Okay.
Anyone, mainly what we're targeting is those that are 65 and older, because as we age, balance gets worse.
Right.
Neurons in our brains get further apart, and then we are less
65
mobile.
and older? I feel like I already have that.
Yeah, well, and then some people, due to car accidents or surgeries or whatever the case may be, have balance issues.
Right.
And so even athletes, listen, I work with, this is for my wife, I'm a real soccer coach. She says I'm not a real soccer coach.
And appreciate that later.
Yeah, so she's probably smiling right now. So even 12 and 13-year-olds that I have, we work on our balance because it's important.
That improves athletics.
Absolutely.
From what I've heard.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. So
good.
Balance University is a 10-week balance course. You can sign up and take the 10-week course, or
like once a week?
Yep, once a week is what we do with our classes. You can go to the website at mybalanceuniversity.com. And so basically this is your manual. And so it has pictures.
Without a beard? We have a little beard there.
Yeah, I got a little scruff. So now I'm full grown. I hit my growth spurt.
There you go.
So, and what we do is we take people from step 1 all the way through 10 weeks, and we build on each week. So we go from easy to very difficult. And so
would you say it's kind of a workout, like it's physical activity, or? Yeah,
for a lot of people it is, because they haven't moved in quite a long time, and they haven't moved in this way. And so you do see a little bit of sweat.
Like somebody, Martha, she says she loves the program.
Oh, that's my mom.
Oh, aw,
Mom.
how sweet. That's awesome. So what inspired you to build this, because out of all the things that you could build, that's pretty specific, I feel like. So what inspired you?
Meineke. So here's what Meineke did. Okay. Meineke did one thing, mufflers.
Yes.
And they went nationwide with it.
Yeah.
And so here I am, I'm a young man, I have 4 kids, I'm married, and I'm thinking to myself, honestly,
3 in college?
3 in college now, I know. Tell me about it. I got out of the car the other day and I was walking bent over, and my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "My back. I'm carrying the world. Can you help me just a little?" No, I'm just kidding. She does all the work. But what I saw was...
if I could get my husband to say that.
Yeah, no. She's incredible. She works her tail off. But what I saw was, let me back up. I was working in a corporate gym.
Hey, Jamie.
And what we had was a physician was a client. He pulled me aside, Dr. Khan. He said, "Listen, I need you to work with some patients. They need load-bearing exercises."
Okay.
And so what I saw was a lot of folks that had balance issues. And so thinking about...
You're trying to work them out, but it's hard to even do that if they're off balance.
Well, they can't even stand for 20 seconds without their heart rate just shooting through the ceiling.
Right.
So now I'm thinking, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
We've got to just get these guys on their feet.
Right.
So what I did was started looking for balance programs. everything that I found was completely overwhelming or underwhelming.
Even in Southwest Florida?
In Southwest Florida or online, I was looking specifically to find something that I could take, of course, that I could take and implement into my everyday business.
Got it.
And everything that I saw, it just was overwhelming or underwhelming,
Yep.
meaning I was going to have to insert some of my knowledge
Yeah.
anyways, wherever we started. And so I thought to myself, I came across a book called Delay the Disease
Okay.
by David Zid.
Okay.
I flipped through his book and I thought to myself, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so weeks went by, I started looking around at what I had available, and money was not a big resource of mine.
Yeah.
And so what I did.
And that's a lot of people's fear. Like when they get an idea and they
Yeah.
know it's good, but it's like, is it going to take money or where do I start?
Well, you can't look at the mountain. You can't look at the mountain for what it is. You're going to have to climb it no matter what.
Right.
So you might as well take one step at a time. And so that's what I did.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah. Delay the disease.
That's going to be an inspirational quote someday.
Yeah.
Can't look at the mountain, Chris Williams.
Yeah. We're in trouble if that happens, man. Let me tell you. Well, and then knowing that money was not a resource that I had in abundance to go out and start a
Right.
book, to build a book.
Yeah,
right?
because it does take.
Yes, it
Capital.
takes significant financial capital. And there's a few ways to do it,
Okay.
but the way we chose was to keep the rights. So
Okay.
I self-published.
Okay.
So what I did was I started looking around at what,
And this is when? About when?
this is probably about 4 years ago.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly when.
Okay.
I'll tell you when. It was Christmas of 2013. I was watching Harry Potter
Oh boy.
in sweats,
Oh my God.
right?
You're like, what am I going to do?
And I was writing exercises for people who had knee replacements and hip replacements.
Oh, wow.
And so it flipped over to balance.
Yeah.
I look at my friends. What do I have available? If I don't have money, then what do I have? Who can I get someone to
Who
help
do I
me?
know?
Who do I know? You
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
Who do I know? I knew an editor. I knew a guy who's in marketing. His name's Sal Blasi. Sal, this is for you. He's with
Nice.
Gulf Coast
Shout out.
TV. He has
I
20
feel like I know
TVs.
that name.
You probably. Sal's been around forever. He's really young looking
TV.
though.
Do they do those, they do like the movie monitors on things,
So-
right? It's like a weird concept, but it's different.
Yeah, yeah.
Digital
Billboard.
billboards.
That's it.
Yes.
You nailed
okay.
it.
Okay.
So I know Sal. I
guys.
know
Yeah.
I know physicians. I know people that would help me get the knowledge if I didn't know it and would give me credit.
So to catch you guys up that just joined, so we're talking about, so he had a huge idea but no money. So he was like, how do I do it? So he was, who do I know? And he started going through, who do I know? You're going to self-publish because
That's
otherwise
right.
it takes buco bucks to
Right.
not self-publish. And you say, who do I know? And I'm going to get started with an editor and you need somebody in marketing.
That's right.
Good.
That's all I needed to know was let me put it on paper and I'll
Yeah.
give it to, in fact, she was a client of mine. Her name's Susan Freeman.
Okay.
And I was going to give her my work and we bartered. And that's how I started building.
Wow.
And for 3 years,
Do you give people like a piece of the equity or
no,
Would
free sessions.
free sessions? Got it. Okay.
Free sessions, free
So
diet
you were
plans.
exchanging what you had,
That's right.
which was knowledge of trading.
That's right.
Awesome.
Hell.
Very cool.
And so that becomes very valuable to those that have had any kind of disorders like cancer or have
Yes.
fallen. That health, as you get older, you start to realize what a resource and how valuable health is.
Of course.
And so that's what I had for value. And so I started trading that, my
Yeah.
time, my knowledge for their services.
So cool.
And little by little, we started building
Chipping
it.
away.
Yeah, just chipped away at it.
Cool.
My thought process was I'm going to run this race no matter what.
Yeah.
We all have to run the race, and it's just how are you going to run
And you
it?
don't want to look at the highest point of the mountain. You want to just look at that next rock you can grasp onto.
That's right. There's 1,000 ways up a mountain, but
Yeah.
there's only one view at the top.
Ooh, that's
So,
good.
I know.
So you made a very vulnerable post on this share.
Yes.
And you said, I don't broadcast it public.
Mm-mm.
So you want to talk about that for a minute?
I've actually never told anyone that, and so
That's
I
crazy.
finally.
For those of you that don't know, I mean, you obviously
Yeah.
need to explain it.
Well, I was homeless. at one point, and I was homeless for about 5 or 6 months. And so,
Months.
yeah, and it wasn't that I didn't have a place to go. It wasn't, and of course, I never told my parents because they would have pulled me out of the hole in a heartbeat. And
Right.
so, and it wasn't a drug or alcohol thing. What it is that when I moved here, I had nothing, and so trying to establish myself as who I am as a man, as a provider.
Right.
You either are going to
So
make
you
a
had
choice.
young kids.
Yeah, I had young kids and a wife, and so we put them up in a room, and I slept in a van.
Wow.
And it was at that moment, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but
Oh man.
it was at that moment when I decided that whatever I do, that I'm going to make God get off his throne to pay attention to me.
Amen.
And I was on my knees and I said, okay, I'm going to work so hard that you're going to have to look at me.
You're gonna have to bless me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to knock on your door so much because I'm not going to stop. And the breath that you've given me is going to haunt you. And maybe haunt is not the right word, but the breath that he's given me is going to haunt him because I'm coming.
Yeah.
And this is the responsibility you've given me.
But that's what he wants. He wants you to get to that place of desperation that you look to him for the guidance.
And I was there. And I remember driving to my wife's work when I lost my job. And I sat in the parking lot, and there was no way I was going to go inside and tell her what had just happened.
Right.
I turned right around and I went and found a job the next day.
Okay.
And then these things started transpiring, and her and the kids ended up in a room, and then I ended up in a van. But from then on, I just started working.
So that was where you had your epiphany. You get to that place, so many people say, like, I had nothing else to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you almost get your best ideas in that place.
You know what it is that when you get to that place, failure doesn't scare you anymore.
Yeah.
Because now your fear of your kids not eating, your kids not having a home, or your kids growing up differently because they don't have, or just the basic things, you get to a point where yourself just dies. And then everything else comes about, whatever I have to do to make this work or give them some semblance of normalcy is what I'm going to do.
So what was your turning point? So when did you get out of the van? You got the family out of the room. So when did you turn? Like, did it start being profitable, or like what happened?
So I went to work in a corporate gym. And this gym is no longer in business anymore.
Oh, wow.
And funny story. How about a little comedy here for a second?
So it's okay. It's been so inspiring. It's all happy story.
I was helping a young man. He had an idea.
Okay.
And so I was helping him.
Okay.
In the meantime,
Yes.
okay, so we have one thing going here.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was going into Mr. Wolf's, my only client,
Yeah.
going into his home at lunchtime on the side.
Okay.
So this young man
Yeah.
made a post on Facebook and tagged me.
Okay.
And my boss calls me into the office
no.
at the corporate gym saying, hey, what's going on?
And you're like,
And I leveled with him. I said, look, I'm just helping. I'm giving steps and process and advice. I'm acting as a mentor. And he says, well, look, I know you're leaving at 11 and you're not coming back till 3. I would like to have you here through lunch. And at that point, that means I would no longer be able to handle or do the client that was starting my new business.
right.
So I looked at him and I said, give me 48 hours to answer that question. I went home and I looked at my wife and she said, you ain't got a choice. What else could go wrong?
Yeah.
So why not go out on your own?
Why not give it a shot?
One thing that I knew from where I had been was I didn't know if it would work. I didn't know if it would be profitable. What I did know was my willingness to work.
Yeah.
And I had faith and hope in that.
And I feel a lot of people can relate to that. Like they know I am willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And I know I have the drive. I know I have the passion and I have the idea. They just can't connect those dots like you did.
And that's valuable. If you know your work ethic, then you have value. There's value in that because you will outlast. You will be there longer than anyone else. You have to be the last person standing.
Yeah.
And I knew I could do that. I didn't know if I would have anyone standing with me, but I knew I would be there. And so I went into the office and said, listen, here's my 2-week notice. I'll square up the clients I have here. Thanks for everything. And so that was in 2011.
Wow. So that's so cool. So now where does it stand today?
So Balance University, I wanted to sell 100 books in a year. That was my goal. And the thing with the book is it gives me credibility, right? As a trainer, when you say you wrote a book, people go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. Anybody
I know. No, we wrote one.
So,
I mean, I think, anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's it. So I wanted to sell 100 books in a calendar year.
Okay.
To date, we've sold over 600.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't have a multi-million marketing budget.
Well, I was just going to say, so how do you market it? How do you get it out there?
So you get online.
Social media?
Yes.
You get online.
Good old
the
email.
internet.
And I contacted a guy, Craig Henley, at the News Press in Fort Myers. I sent him an email, and I was going to send everyone an email from here to Tallahassee.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was emailing every newspaper that I knew, and I still do. One guy emailed me back in like 10 minutes.
Hey, but that's all you need.
That's it. So I emailed him. Next thing you know, we're meeting at a Panera Bread, and we're talking, and he's writing, and he's taking pictures. 2 weeks later, a story comes out in the News Press, right?
Yeah.
So here's the deal, and here's another good one. The story comes out in the News Press. My phone's going off like crazy, right? It's 6:30 in the morning.
People are blowing you up. Did you see? Did you see?
Books on Amazon, right? My book's on Amazon. I'd only sold one, and that was to my grandfather. What are you doing? Why are you buying a book? Well, I wanted to help you support you.
Aww. That's nice.
So my phone's going off. I look at it and it says, you've sold one book. And then it starts going off. And I get in the shower, and all of a sudden this thing's going off 10 times. I sold 10 books on Amazon. I've been hacked. Somebody is playing games on me.
Somebody's messing with me.
So what I did was I sat down
That's sad that that's our first thought today.
Yeah.
I've been hacked.
I've been hacked.
It's fraud.
I thought, you know what? This is a God thing. If I can sell 20 books, and I thought, no, 30, because God has no limits, right? So how about 50? Okay, God, if I sell 50 books today, then I know your hand's in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm dumb like that and don't realize all the steps along the way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I had sold 52 books.
Oh my gosh.
True story.
That's funny.
Week later,
That's
same
awesome.
story comes out in the Naples Daily News, and we sold 87 books.
That's insane. So they're doing a story just on you or on Balance University and how it's helping people. So what was the story?
So Balance University has this little label on it, Florida Blue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
I met a Mr. Jonathan Grafe from
You're
Florida
giving a lot
Blue
of shout outs.
because it's
Everybody
deserving.
should listen to this. And
Yeah.
say, oh, he said my name. Okay.
A lot of contacts, believe
Yeah.
me. A lot of folks helped. Met Jonathan. He works for Florida Blue in Estero.
Okay.
He says, look, you ought to submit that to the corporate office and see if they approve it. And I'm thinking,
For insurance.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
For coverage.
yeah. I mean, to get the Florida Blue,
It's health
Blue Cross,
insurance. It's health.
Blue Stamp approval. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What do I have to lose?
Right.
I send it off. He sends it back. You can't put Balance University on it. I said, okay. So I left little logos, and I left Balance University on the last 2 slides. Send it off.
Nice.
What do I have to lose? Right?
They said yes, obviously.
6 months later, I get an email from Jonathan. I'm not kidding. It's a true story. Dude, you were approved. It was just like that.
Hey, it's beautiful.
So what that means, though, is that means it's not covered by insurance yet.
Okay.
But what it does mean is that I can go in. Florida Blue has put their stamp of approval on it.
Okay.
I go in and teach this course or portions of the course in Florida Blue locations across the state.
Oh, so they are, like, in a sense, endorsing it.
That's right.
Per se.
They buy books from me and hand them out to their clients or patients as they come in the door, to their customers, their consumers. So,
but next is they should be insuring it. Like, are you going for that then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
insurance should cover it.
100%. Well,
It's sort of like even on the lines of physical therapy, I think, like
Mhm.
and physical therapy is covered. So, I mean, I feel like it should be right in that same.
no, you're right. You're on the right track. So 10,000 Americans turn 65 every day.
Yeah.
Our 65 and over population is going to more than double here in the next 30, 40 years. So the insurance companies are going to have to do something to keep people from falling. And fall prevention is becoming more and more of a hot topic, not a hot topic, of a hot button, right?
Yeah.
People are more aware of fall prevention than
More
ever
aware.
before.
Yeah, for sure.
We want to be on the forefront.
Wow.
We want to be on the front
So
line.
that's what's next, would you say? So what's the next big thing for Balance University? So are you trying to expand into different states? Are you trying to get, what are you trying to do?
The next big thing,
Mhm.
and we have to have tunnel vision here, because don't forget the Meineke process.
Right.
They did one thing. So what we're doing now is we're certifying companies that have caregivers or in-home caregivers. We're certifying personal trainers, right, to teach
so
the
you're
course.
certifying other professionals
That's
to
right.
be able to, okay.
We just certified our first group of in-home caregivers
Wonderful.
as Balance University certified.
That's so cool.
And so what does that mean?
You should have like a specific certification.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, they're Balance certified.
Okay.
So what that means is that now they can walk into their patient's home. And how much value does that have to know if you have a loved one, your mom or dad,
Right.
is at home, and all they do is sit 8, 10, 12 hours a day?
Gosh, yeah.
You have to have someone that understands the needs when someone can't stand for 20 or 30 seconds, like we were
Right.
talking about earlier.
Right.
So now these caregivers understand, they know how to assess, they know how to make a plan, a program,
Right.
they know how to communicate to the case manager, they know how to monitor the heart rate so that they can understand what workload their patients are under in order to help improve their mobility. Maybe it's just to improve them rolling over in bed from side to
Oh my
side.
gosh, the little things that we just take for granted. So
I'm
you do
telling you.
see you see results from this, obviously.
Yes, yeah. And a big thing to mention is I didn't reinvent the wheel. A lot of the exercises you see here, you've done before.
Yeah.
What we did was we put them in a nice, neat order with pictures.
Well, like you said, you wanted to try to find those specific exercises and you couldn't find a resource to go to.
Right. And that was frustrating to me.
So even though you didn't recreate the wheel, you did create something that just, it wasn't easily accessible.
I wanted it simple.
Yeah.
Simple, because when you start
everybody wants it simple.
Well, yeah, when you start talking about muscles here and muscles there, people just, they kind of, smoke comes out the ears and it's on in, buddy. You lose them. Well, I wanted to get a program that says, hey, this is what you do, this is how you do it, go.
Yeah.
There's 10,080 minutes in a week. 10,080 minutes in a week.
Yeah.
1% of your time is going to help you improve your balance. What's 1%?
Really?
What's 1% of 10,080 minutes?
108 minutes. No, 1,008 minutes.
Well, it's 30 minutes 4 times a week.
There you
That's
go.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. And you don't even have to do the 30 minutes at one time.
Oh my gosh.
So when you start explaining this stuff to people in terms of their time, then they start recognizing, it's like I tell the guys, listen, when you're cooking for your wives and you're standing in front of the microwave, because that's how guys cook for their wives, or on the grill. So why not stand on one foot?
Yeah.
Or why not do these certain things that we teach you to do in Balance University?
All while doing your normal daily routine.
You got it.
Oh my gosh, that's
You got
awesome. Well, I mean, anything else that you want everybody to know? Because I mean, I know I cover this a lot. Like I cover about your story, like how you built something, because I know it relates to people, and I know a lot of people probably have that gut-wrenching drive. Like I just have to do this, but I don't know where to go. And so I know I focus on that. But anything else that you want everybody to know? Because we're already, if you can believe it, already at 24 minutes. I tell you 20 minutes.
So I do want, some people ask me, why balance, Chris? I played football for a long time, high school, college, and how do you get wrapped up in balance? And it all came to a head. My search really, it was ignited when I met a client of mine, my first client, Mr. Wolf.
Okay.
And, I had that lunch hour I was going to visit him on.
Yeah.
Well, my youngest son would go with me because he would get out of preschool. There was an hour before we could take him to the babysitter. So he was with me. Got to go to work, buddy. Him and Mr. Wolf were exactly 90 years apart to the day. They were both born on Christmas Day.
Wow.
I'm working with Mr. Wolf one day.
Yeah.
And I tell Mr. Wolf we're going to do 12 of leg extensions, legs out in front.
Right.
We get to 12. When I say 12, it doesn't mean 12. When I say 12, it really means like 15 or 20. Your job is not to count.
You're going to push them. You're going to push them.
You got it.
Yeah.
Caleb's sitting behind me. Mr. Wolf does 12, and he says, "Hey, Dad, that's 12. He's done." Mr. Wolf looks right past me, and he says, "Come here, young man. Have a seat." Sat right beside him.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf was a dear client of mine. He was Caleb's friend as well. He fell. He passed away 18 months after he fell.
Oh.
That's what tore me up.
Yeah.
That's what really convinced me, and that's how I got passionate about balance, because I lost my friend.
Right.
My first client, my friend.
Right.
And so I want people to know that if it's not Balance University, do something. And if you have an idea, you have resources, you have friends, make contact, find a way. It can be done, and have faith and trust in your will and God. And I guarantee you, you'll end up on the right path somehow, some way.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm stunned, I'm like speechless. That's just an amazing, I don't know, it's an amazing place to leave people, because I think it's not only a success story of how you built, obviously, the balance, and it is, it's so something that we take for granted every day, like just sitting in this chair, just, and you see all the things about people falling, and I just don't think that it's one of those things that you don't realize how important it is until after something really happens. It's like an event.
Yeah.
It's triggered. But I mean, wow, that's just so good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it so much. And, if you have any questions for Chris, obviously just go to my website, www.novawealthmanagement.com, and go to contact us. And I'd be happy to pass it along to him. But more importantly, they can just find your book on Amazon.
Yep, that's right. You can go to Amazon, or you can
there's
go
probably a website,
to my website. It's mybalanceuniversity.com. And so,
I know the camera's kind of funky.
Yeah, no. If you have any questions too, my goal is to help people. Yeah. That's the goal. That's the mission. So anything I can do to help, you don't have to buy a book. Contact me, and we'll help you for sure.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have an awesome weekend. I'll leave you with that. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.